Okay, so I'm going to start off by saying that this was done for a mobile game called Get Wrecked, and you should thank the awesome guys from there for letting me create and upload this time-lapse. I also want to mention that the concept art was not made by me, it was done by Hans Krill, and the links for everything will be down below in the description. So I'm going to start off by using the concept art that I was provided. I'm going to be projecting it onto the model. There's really just no point in not using the concept. It saves quite a lot of time, even though I still have to paint over all of it. I'm painting in a layer below the concept, the projected concept, and I'm just filling in all the gray areas that didn't get projected. You can see that not everything. Some of the areas are just gray because the projection didn't work really well. But it doesn't matter to me really, because I just want to use it as a base and mostly to pick colors from. You can see now that I made a new layer on top of the projected concept so that I can fill in those gray areas. Here I'm just straight up painting and erasing some of the stuff from the concept, because that will be a VFX. Starting to already clean up some of the areas. I'm also already painting in some of the planes and just adding some small highlights. Here I made the spikes dark because I just like to usually work from the darkest color and go up, just using a gray color to paint in the highlights. I ended up painting a bit too much and I'm going to erase it a bit. Yeah, I wanted to keep it a bit darker. Painting in some shadows and just cleaning it up. I knew that the orb was going to be purplish, so I already added some purple colors. And now I'm just adding different colors to add some color variation and to just texture differences. It's all very rough. I baked an AO and I made it 50% opacity because it was all black, and I'm just kind of painting over it. Adding some highlights already. And because the game is mobile and the staff is going to be pretty small on the screen, I'm painting in some bigger highlights so that you can notice them more easily. And I'm not really sure if this is a good idea, but I did paint a highlight on every edge. And here I'm cleaning it up a bit. Now using some blue again, injecting some different colors, and just trying to do sort of happy accidents. Here I'm painting some lines to just get some interesting stuff onto the texture so it doesn't look just all gray and simple. And adding some small highlight specks. I went over there with a brighter highlight already. Most people kind of do the whole model in steps, but I like to just go in and do everything in one layer mostly. At least things like at the start, like adding those highlights. And you can see on the right side I added that kind of, I painted in that sort of reflection. I don't know how to call it better, but it really helps when making metals. I'm painting in some shadows, AO. I'm painting it in and then using shift to smooth it out. I was kind of happy with the top part, so I moved to the next piece. And again, most people like to do everything in steps. I just straight up go in and start painting the highlights, start adding colors all in one layer. I'm adding the sort of orange color that's reflected from the bottom piece, and the purple that's from the top piece, from the orb. Adding those kind of color bounces is really important. Yeah, cleaning it up a bit. Move down to the handle now. Again, you can see those kind of lines going that I painted. It makes it look more like metal, and that it makes it feel like it's round and that it's a nicer reflection. Here again. Though it was kind of a bit too bright, so I was smoothing it out. I'll be going over that part later on. Here, this piece was darker. I don't know why, but it was in the concept, so here, yeah. And I'm painting in the sides a bit darker. It just makes the shape look more like a sphere, makes it look nicer, at least from the front. From the side it's kind of weird. That's why I'm sort of erasing it a bit, but I still leave some of it. Just makes it look nicer. And the whole sphere, like the reflection on that sphere, it came out pretty good from the projected concept, so I'm leaving it. Now going over the main handle, just took a darker color and drawing over the concept. kind of tedious, but the dark color really makes it pop. Looking over the whole thing, a nice idea is to flip your model upside down and look at it for a couple of seconds. Gives you a fresh look when you flip it back. Here again I'm painting in some dark colors on the sides. It kind of ruins it when you're looking at the thing from the side, but from the front it makes it look way nicer. Just blending out the color because it was a bit too dark. And now I'm adding some highlights. I don't know if this was like, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't look like that in real life, the highlights, but it really makes those dark lines pop out and it looks very nice from a distance. Cleaning up the sides slightly. Here adding some kind of details to not make it look so boring. Going over some highlights, making it a bit brighter to match the golden handle. And now this piece again, cleaning it up a bit. Highlights. Again, I think you shouldn't like draw highlights on every single edge. At least such bright highlights. But it looks okay from a distance, it makes it pop out more. Adding some blue color, it's like the reflection from the sky. Just makes it nicer. Added some texture details like that with the dark color and that metal highlight. Now I went over with a darker color like next to the highlights to make them pop out even more and to sort of give it some more texture difference. Trying out with the color dodge. I'm adding that blue sort of tint because in between those two pieces there will be a blue sort of flame VFX. So it's like I'm already painting the glow into the texture. Now painting the orb. If anyone is interested about the outline, it's just I duplicated the main orb, scaled it up, and then inverted the normals. Painting the orb, I'm just adding some bright colors, a brighter shade of pink to add some detail. I'm making the bottom really like much brighter, so I don't know, it just looks kind of like it glows. It just makes it look nice. Some gold color variation. The blue is for color variation as well. And now I'm painting in some details. Just sort of random lines. Now I took a much brighter color and I'm drawing it, painting next to those dark lines with it to make it sort of like pop out more, maybe even make it kind of like it's glowing, like there's light inside and the dark lines are sort of covering it. Now color dodge. Again, I want to make it look like the inside is glowing, or at least something like that. So I'm using the color dodge. Now I'm painting in the sort of reflection speck, and the idea is to have some of the edges be like hard edges, and then the rest of them they kind of fade out. And you can see I'll be using a soft brush later on to fade them out. I think that it really like the glassness was really important. When you add that and zoom out, it makes it look really nice, like it finishes the orb. Now I wanted to make it look like the orb is kind of glowing a bit, so I added those, I painted in some purple on the metal pieces that are connected to it. Now going over with the purple on the grey metal again to make it look like it's sort of really softly glowing. Adding the blue for the VFX. Now going back to this piece, didn't really like how it looked. It was too black, so I added some white highlights. Here one side was a bit too dark, so I brightened it up. Color dodge is perfect for metal. I think it's better than using overlay. Going over some of the highlights so that it's not like the highlight is the same intensity everywhere. Going over the shadows, I'm using a purple because black shadows are bad. You want your darks to get saturated. Yeah, sort of like final touches, adding some details so it doesn't look so simple. And again, putting in some blue. I think I also put in some reds, just color variation. It really helps. It sort of like finishes and gives that hand painted feeling. This hair was like too black, added some light gray, makes it look nicer. Final thing, I put it in Photoshop, did some color balancing to add some more color, some saturation, and I also sharpened the whole thing. So that's it. I hope you like it. I hope you learned something. And yeah, thanks for watching.